My name is Darian Taylor. I'm a musician, licensed minister for Destiny Church of Jackson, and also lead guitarist for a little hostel. Uh, I do music. I think around 6 years old. That's when I first. That's when I first started taking lessons. But that's also I remember even before then watching my grandmother play piano. Growing up, I used to sit back and just watch her play. And I think one thing I realized about music is the feelings that it gives you.
I used to keep Darian, babysit with him when he was little, and as he became a toddler, of course, I'm a pianist, so I played the piano at home often all during the day. And when he was, I don't know, 3 or 4 maybe, he would come over and watch me as I played the piano. And it was like he was just learning what I was doing, and he just looked like he wanted so badly to put his fingers on the keyboard. And eventually, as he got older, he did.
That's kind of where my love of music came from. Was I went through a lot at a young age, and that was kind of my way of removing myself from reality. There were certain chords, there were certain places, certain songs that could take you just completely out of reality. There were definitely some times where music didn't help, and one thing was, I think whenever I started experimenting with drugs and music and just drugs in life and period, I realized that stuff was beyond my control. I did battle with addiction, and I got to a place. My son was born. I was going through a lot with that, but I got to a place where I realized none of it was in my control. Music couldn't take the pain away. I realized I needed something greater at the time. I grew up in church, but when I got into college, I didn't go to church. I believed that there was a God, but I didn't really believe that God could help me in my situation. And I was so used to counting on music, and at the time I played blues because blues, I felt like that's where I could shed my pain at. And definitely when my son was born, I realized that music, drugs, all that other stuff, it can't replace what God can give you. And that's a place that I ended up realizing I needed more than just music.
I hope that I impacted Darian musically by providing piano lessons for him. He became so gifted at just creating his own music, playing by ear, we would call it, or just improvising. And he became really good at that. And that has carried through to his career now and his service at church.
I think the first time I realized, I felt the difference between gospel and blues, or just that feeling in playing them. I had just got into church. I was invited to play for Destiny. And at the time, I didn't know my supervisor was a pastor, but he had asked me, to come to church, and I was at that place where I needed something more than music, and I was searching for something more in life. And he asked me to come play, and so when I came and played, it was just a completely all-around different experience. I realized at that moment, I use blues as an outlet for all my pain, and then with gospel, I could pour all my pain into that, and I had a joy that I can't describe it. From the time I was small, I experienced a lot of pain, a lot of unfairness, I'll say that. Just from death of my father at a young age, I felt like there was a hole. Even though I had an amazing stepfather, I felt like there was a hole in my identity. And then going through sexual molestation at a young age and not being able to talk about it. I didn't talk about it for probably well over 18, 19 years. I didn't even acknowledge it. And my parents thought they were doing everything they could.
Little by little, and as he progressed in his Christian knowledge and Christian commitment, he became more and more at that. And he developed such a wonderful talent. I've never seen anything like it at accompanying, or maybe that's not the right word, but providing background music for the pastor while he or she preached. And I observed him doing that a time or two at the church. And I just thought it was amazing how he could pay so much attention to the sermon, and his music would support everything that the pastor was saying. And if it was a sad thing they were talking about, then he'd go into a minor key or something. But if it was happy, the music would get all excited and would build up. And it was just amazing to me that he would support the sermon like that so much. And I had never been in a church that did that, so it was all new to me. But he has definitely progressed, not only in his music abilities, but in his Christian commitment. And I think he really is dedicated to that. And when I was privileged to observe his ordination here recently, I thought that was just a wonderful, wonderful thing for that to happen and for him to be so committed with that.
As a man, I knew I needed to grow up. I knew I needed, once again, that character development, but I didn't know how to get it. You know, I knew all the wise sayings, but I didn't know how to apply it. And that was when my son was born. I was asked about coming to play for church, and I just never forget that first day I came to church and played, and then I sat out and listened to the sermon. It changed my life. It's not my job to judge people if they're in church or not. What I can do is tell them about what works for me, and for me, Jesus works for me. God works for me.